You spend a lot of time and a lot of money building up a fan base for your product or your services that you offer. But are you converting them? Let's find out on E-commerce Revamped.
Welcome to E-commerce Revamped, where we break down the hottest trends, insider tips, and strategies shaping the future of e-commerce. Powered by Miva, the engine behind seamless online stores. Now here's your host, Rob Stanley.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of E-commerce Revamped. I've got a good one today, and I got a good one every time. But listen, a lot of people spend a lot of time and a lot of money building up either a fan base or maybe it's a group on Facebook or something like that. But are you converting these people? And how do you convert these people? That is the question we're going to be answering today. I've got my guest, Norm Farrar. Hi, Norm. How are you?
Hello. I'm doing pretty good. How about you, Rob?
Oh, I'm doing great. Listen, Norm and I have known each other a long time. We've both been in e-commerce a very long time. Norm's got a lot of knowledge, especially when it comes to converting fans into actual buyers or people that will convert to basically make you money, whether it's a service or a product. And Norm, let's kick this off with why is community building crucial for e-commerce brands? Let's talk about that first.
Well, probably you're leaving a ton of money on the table if you don't create a community. I can tell you, like for brands, or if you have a personal brand or service business, you have these loyal fans and you have to figure out a way to put them into a community. It's not just a Facebook group. It's not a podcast, not just a newsletter, but what can you do to get these people to listen to you or to read your posts and to take action? And I think, there's no one simple answer to that, but you've got to start to do that. If you're a pet company, for example, I've got a really great example, but a pet company that had 780,000 emails and they weren't sending them out. Now, can you imagine they're repeat buyers, right? Figure out your repeat buyers. They're buying for a reason. They like your product. Okay. Create a newsletter, create a podcast, create an email sequence, and get them in front of the customer's eyes on a regular basis. That's the first thing you need to do, is just get eyes on your product, but not psychologically. Rob, you got to do this a little different. You can't just promote. Emails, everybody thinks you're promoting. Now, my buddy Wilfred always says you got to get engaged before you get married, and that's providing value. And that's what we have to do. Provide value and slip a little promotion in there, but always get your message out there. And I think it's really important. What is that message? What is your brand voice? There's a lot of things you have to discover. AI makes this a lot simpler nowadays, but that's my general answer.
Yeah, and that's a great answer. When I was running my business, even though probably back then you could send out a little more of a catalog style of, here's some of the new product and stuff, but that's evolved. Norm said it perfectly by saying that provide content. If you have a blog going and you're providing, maybe it's a how-to or something like that, or your latest thing going on in the industry, and then you slip in a little bit of, hey, and by the way, we have a solution for that. That's easy to do, and you're building up a database, a base of people that are just, they're going to scream out loud for you when you need them to. Absolutely. So Norm, if you build up this database or this group of people, these fans, I guess we could call them, and they start buying from you, you're seeing a good motion happen from it, you're getting a lot of sales from it. Do you need paid ads anymore, or can you just rely straight onto a community to sell to? What's your thought on that?
I think you'll always need paid ads. That's just one of the marketing mixes. So back in the day when we were in university, we were told in marketing, you needed 7 touch points. I was talking with Neil Patel on our other podcast with Kevin King, and he just told us it's now 11.5 touch points. So it's gone up. So paid advertising definitely helps. What are the other areas that you can, find yourself right now? Take a look at AI. Can you be found in search on AI? And, the answer is yes. And if you don't know how, you better learn. because these are the new trends that are happening. But here's some simple things. So let's say you're selling online and you have a product now, and I'll give you one of my clients. It's a knife. So they see the knife, they open up the knife, they see a QR code, and it comes over for an extended warranty. Actually, it's a lifetime warranty. So people go over to a landing page, they give their email because they're happy to give their email for that lifetime savings. If you're going to give them some schlumpy, no value giveaway, they're not going to give that. So you have to have added value. But within that, we say, look, sign up and you'll also get this cookbook, these are recipes from chefs from around the world that we've given the knives to. The catch is they have to give us a recipe. And then we also provide them with a 52-week meal plan. So here's the email going out to them every single day every single week with the meal plan that they're going to use. They're going to ask questions for. Where do they ask the questions? Oh, well, we could open up a Facebook group and have it there. We could have a WhatsApp group. So there's something there. So that's starting to build the community. You could go over and create that newsletter. Now, I find, and this is really eye-opening for me anyways. So a few years ago, I was I still have the podcast. And I thought, wow, this is a way to get the word out about what I do. I really didn't promote what I did, but it got the word out that I was an authority figure. But all right, this is good. We had sponsorship on the podcast. And then Kevin, again, I'm going to reference, Kevin's my partner, and Kevin started doing his newsletter, which is a great newsletter. But my son and I looked at Kevin and said, Mr. King, this is never gonna work. Not nowadays. I have to admit I was wrong. And right now, our biggest revenue generator is our newsletter. And why is that? It's a niche market. People want to hear about it. We've got a unique angle, and this is something you really have to communicate in your community. What's that unique? Your USP. Why should they be in your community? Well, with the knives, it was connecting with cooks and chefs. It was getting these meal plans. We've come out with 2 other cookbooks that people could download for free, and they got to know the quality of the other products that we had. We ended up with this client launching 11 more products, and if they like the one product, they like the other product, and they'll purchase the next product. And one long-winded story. I'll finish shortly. But what they were able to do is they were able to increase their price. And that's a whole other thing on perception. But they were able to increase their price. They didn't have to discount it. They could say that they were just sending it out. They have 7,000 people on their mailing list. And if they were launching anything, this community, these loyal fans, these raving fans, not only would buy the product at little to no discount, they would post it on social media. He would get all the UGC that he needed. And also people were providing recipes that he could put onto his website and social media and on Amazon. So I guess I probably talked a little bit too much on that, but kind of important.
You covered actually some of the other questions I was going to ask. So that was perfect, Norm. Seriously. Love that you guys had Neil Patel on. He's one of my favorites. Big shout out to you and Kevin there for Marketing Misfits, which we'll cover a little bit more at the end. But talking about community a little more, how do you know, Norm, if a community is thriving, like if they're doing well? Is it from just interaction, or what's your kind of take on that?
I might have a different take than some people, but fake, like for some communities or some entrepreneurs, vanity comes in. So what they do is they need to have a ton of followers. Well, followers doesn't make you business or doesn't give you business. And no matter if you're, Rob, this, if you're on YouTube, or if you're on TikTok, or if you have a newsletter, if they're fake followers, it's garbage in, garbage out. And you can usually see this because there's very low engagement. There's emoji, thumbs up emoji, whatever it is. And there's nothing compelling. There's no interaction. With our WhatsApp group, for example, we have continuous engagement. So people are always there. They're always talking. We're getting questions every day. And when you know you have a community, you can walk away from your community. Just like if you have SOPs in a company, you could walk away and let your staff take care of that. And that's what you'll find. So there'll be days that I'm not doing anything in our community for days, and other people are answering the questions, on PPC, on listing optimization, on whatever it is. So going I think it's important that you have engagement. That's the first thing. You continually add value, and you give options.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. That's great. And getting that engagement, it's absolutely crucial. And I'm in plenty of groups. You see some of them just kind of go dead, or you'll
Yeah.
see something pop up once a month. Then on other ones, they're in WhatsApp, they're always at the top because people are always talking. BDSS group from Kevin King,
Yep.
always something going on in there. In fact, I'm always trying to participate and add in when I can too, just to help out. What about your strategy when it comes to using Google Business Profiles? Is that help at all as far as, groups are helping?
Are you
turn
baiting
fans?
me?
I am.
Okay. Let me see. Google Business Profiles. I love Google Business Profiles. The first thing you have to do is make sure that you get verified. And if you don't do it properly, you're not going to get verified. But brands, I've had so many arguments or discussions over the years that brands can't be on Google My Business, Google Business Profile. It's impossible. Well, they actually offer, when you go to sign up, one of the three options that you have is online business. Click, you check that. You have to make sure that you check that right one. Getting verified. And because this is so important, I'm going to stick on this for a second. If you have a service-based business that is like a brand, or you don't want people coming over to your home office, make sure you don't display your address. You have to put in your proper address, even if it's your home address. But if you click that, they're going to ask you to do the hardest form of verification, and that's video. They're going to ask you to send all video, one shot. They want you to go outside. This is crazy. Outside, show that you're where you live, and the street signs. So you have to have a good zoom if you're far away. But where I live, you got to show that. You got to walk in. You got to open the door, showing that it was locked. Rattle it, open it up, go through, show where you're either your employee or you work. Then you have to open up your articles of incorporation. You have to show your business vendor's license. Then you have to come over to the desk, and you got to show all this other stuff. The simplest way is don't show your address, and you'll be given either a phone call, a snippet that you put into your web page, email address, or a mail or postcard. You do not want a video. But now, focusing on Google Business Profile is the single biggest asset that I can see any business using, not only for authentic to be the authority figure, but also to get ranked and indexed almost immediately. Now, ranking, depending, it could take time. But if you're constantly putting up your business information, all of your reviews are centered right there, and you start to rank for different keywords. So if you're using different tools like Neil Patel's Uber Suggest, Moz, SEMrush, and you get that information, and now you can start targeting some longer tail keywords. As long as you're number one, you will take up that space on the right hand side or in your, now it's switched over to Google Maps and search, but you'll take up that real estate when people are coming up for that keyword. So you get all this real estate for free that other people don't get because you rank. Now, the other part to this is people don't really realize that in this community, you can start building out your brand, images of your brand, make your images shoppable, have them shoppable on multiple locations. So Walmart over, let's over to Miva, over to Amazon, over to whatever online store you want to go to. It makes it shoppable. And no other platform that I know of allows for that. Then you are allowed updates. Updates allow you to update like for posts, or it's just, you can announce something, or it could be an employee, whatever it is. And then you have in the update, it's posts, events, and what am I missing? Offer. So for people coming, we have not Black Friday, Prime Day coming up. Well, probably people in your audience that are using your platform, you want to compete with Prime Day. So what do you want to do? You create an offer, and the offer might be a pre-Prime Day sale, something that's going to beat everybody out by going through Google Business Profile. Or you can create an event that's specifically called, pre-Prime Day sale, whatever you want. But using the events is heavily weighted, because if you use the keywords in the event, Google will not, there's a couple of tips here. People will weight that higher because it's a dated event. And if you play around with the dates, and you show not just the default dates, but you show that you're open on certain holidays like Thanksgiving, Christmas, your competitors are defaulted. And guess what? Google's not going to show a defaulted date. They're going to show somebody that's open. So if you're a brand and you want to get sales on Christmas or on, Thanksgiving, add those dates into Google Business Profile. So much I could talk to about this. Oh, by the way, with that, and in general, you can add content, right? So you can add content. You can add content in your social media, and you have an anchor. They have an anchor link, and it's an anchor URL that triggers your Google profile to pick it up the second that it gets sent out. So you would put that in. So let's say it's your shop, and then you delete the shop out, and then you put your Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is, it'll get picked up. But
wow,
content is everything right now. And if you have your website and you have a blog, so it could be a subdomain for a blog, but you put quality on. Don't just go in, slap some AI into it. Quality. It might be reviewing, editing, having a real editor take a look at it, and then adding to it. So every 3 months, you might want to revise what you just said, and that'll get Google to come back and check it out. But like when we were talking to Neil, it was, hey, look, it's not quantity, it's quality. Yep. And you can put that onto LinkedIn, and you can put it onto these different social platforms. But the main thing that people forget with content is you can have a content that talks great about whatever the topic is, but they forget to ask for the sale. So at the end, you can have, for more information about Arbum, or if you're interested in, you got to have that, the closing there, your CTA.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's great information. And you know what? Nobody talks about that. That's such an unused resource, that people just don't talk enough about. And if you do it correctly, you're going to get extra sales from it. Who doesn't want extra sales? Or heck, your community will come through. That's great, Norm. I appreciate that. We're going to cut to a quick commercial break. When I come back, though, let's have Norm talk a little bit about some of the first steps to building community and maybe some of the mistakes he's seen happen as people build that right after this.
Looking to take your e-commerce business to the next level? Meet Miva, the platform powering seamless online stores with the flexibility you need to grow. From custom solutions to user-friendly tools, Miva helps you create unforgettable shopping experiences. Ready to transform your business? Visit miva.com/podcast and see what's possible.
So head on over to miva.com/podcast. We've got great resources there. There's previous episodes of the podcast that you could watch over there. In fact, Norm was mentioning earlier about getting noticed on AI searches, which is referred to as GEO. Did a couple episodes on that recently, so you might want to look back at those. Anyways, I got Norm Farrar on. We're talking about basically building a community. Right before the break, I was mentioning that Norm's going to talk to us a bit about first steps to build a community and maybe some of the mistakes he's seen happen as people are building up that community or getting started to build it.
Well, one of the things that you want to make sure of is there's some form of consistency. It's like building a brand. Sometimes you're joining or creating another community that you can kind of cherry pick later. So you might want to do this 2 different stages. You might want to create, maybe you're doing something that just comes to mind. I don't know, maybe I'm hungry, but tortilla press, and all of a sudden you've got this community that you have the tortilla press over here, but you want to learn all these recipes, right? So everybody else who wants to make great, tacos, nachos, whatever it is, they come in with their recipes. Now people start to talk about it because, wow, there's no promotion here. This isn't salesy. This is a group. And I can give you a great example of that. So one of my friends owns Meowingtons, and they have a cat that they have on Instagram that they turned into a GIF, and it is the second largest downloadable cat or a GIF in the world. And the last time I checked, there was just billions of downloads. And know them. If you type in Milton the cat, you'll go, oh, I know that cat. Well, they've taken that cat and they've created these cartoons and just cat cartoons. And if you're interested in getting one every day in Instagram, they create one. They have an artist that comes up every day, comes up with a new one and sends it out. There's so much you can do with this. They've got, I think, between Facebook and Instagram, 1.2, 1.3 million people that get this cat with no sales. It's just Milton the cat. And on top of that, think of what they can do. They can create a calendar. They can create Milton merch. They can create all of this stuff, all out of that community. But the community started out with just a cat Instagram. So now what you can do is take that and you can start pulling people over. Hey, if you want more information, or if you got something that you wanted to post in the group about a product, then they can go over to this other group and buy the product. You could point them over to your store. You can point them over to your Amazon site. So you can have 2 different groups. One strictly community. One, hey, if you're interested in more information, come over to this community. But at the same time, your storefront has to be consistent with your brand. It's so important. Then everything you do with your brand, whether it's on storefront, Amazon, Walmart, whatever it is, all your social media, it's all got to be brand consistent. You have to have the same voice. You have to, now our avatars, believe in them or don't believe in them. I believe in them. I know some people don't, but target that avatar that you're going after, and then mix up your content. You want to have, you could have just curated content. You could have content that you put together. You could have user-generated content. You have the quote of the day, the recipe of the day, facts, all sorts of different things, but mix it up. Nobody just wants to see quotes. Nobody just wants to see, long, boring articles. They need to have it mixed up. So when they go to the group, they'll start, engaging with them. Now, what is the right platform for your community? Well, sometimes it's that blitz approach where you want to go on to all the different channels and see what's going to work for you. So for us, I know for a fact that TikTok's starting to work really well for us. YouTube is doing well, but even in YouTube, both Marketing Misfits and Lunch with Norm, we've got 2 channels. We've got the one for the community who likes long form. We've got the community that likes 3 minutes and under, so they can, just grab a Scooby snack and take off for the day. And, maybe that's all they want. But then what happens? They start to look at us and they start to, check us out. Who are we? Well, they'll go to the website. It's brand consistent. If they go over to our newsletter, it's consistent. If you go to the podcast, everything is consistent with the information that they expect. As soon as I start going outside of that, so for me, on at least with Lunch with Norm, I talk a lot about Amazon. If I flipped it and all of a sudden I'm talking retail for a lot of the time, I'm going to lose the listeners. So think about that with your brand. You can have something interesting about, cat lovers, but then you can have that cat brand that might be cat beds, or something like that. And you can create that newsletter from there. And you have to test this all out. Well, one thing you can't do is give up right away. This is a long-term solution. You'll get some short gains. So with a newsletter, we started out nothing a year and a half ago. We've got over 10,000 followers now, and it's engaging. And we know when we send it out, we're going to have a great open rate and a really great click-through rate. And it's only people who want to engage, because if they don't, they unsubscribe. If they don't open them up over, I think it's either 30 or 60 days, we kick them off the list. Why? Why send out? Why waste our time when we have people that really want to get engaged? So you got to groom your community, be selective. And if there's schlumps in there, get rid of them. They're not going to do you any good. And if you get lots of unsubscribers, do the happy dance, because then you don't have to worry about them. When you're doing a podcast, the same thing. You got to have your own style, your own look. Mine, I grew a beard. That's literally what I did for a personal brand. I went to a lot of events. I wanted people to remember me. And I thought, well, I'll grow a beard. Now, my wife really hates that I do that, but that's my brand. And I can't cut off the beard if my brand is the beard guy.
So, you got me laughing because I just love it. That's so true. As Norm and I know, I've been, let's see, I was the feedback wizard. I was the money man, and those were mainly for trade shows, but it was to draw attention, right? Be unique, stand out. And I love how you said that, so speaking of standing out, speaking of you, Norm, let's tell everybody a bit about Lunch with Norm and Marketing Misfits, what you guys do, what they can expect if they go over there and listen to it, and tell them how to find that.
Sure. So Lunch with Norm, it was a COVID project. We talk mostly about Amazon, AI. We get into a bit about retail, a bit about e-com, but our main focus is Amazon. And we have the podcast. It's live every Monday, but we post it onto YouTube, an edited version. We have the one from the week before edited up there every Monday. So if you want to get some fresh content on Amazon, we really try to find great guests. We used to do it 3 times a week. Now it's once a week. So it makes it harder to pick the guests. And then we have a newsletter that I think is a great newsletter. It's called Lunch with Norm, but the URL is lwn.news. And our USP is I provide a true personal story and I turn it into a business lesson. And then it's just a lot of updates and content from there. Let's see, Marketing Misfits. So Kevin and I have been talking about this forever. We started it just over a year ago. And what we wanted to do is when we went to all these events, we met really incredible people and unique people, misfits. And we started to think, well, maybe we could get some of these people onto a podcast and figure out how they thought outside of the box to be successful, or how they failed miserably to be successful. And that's what we've been doing. We've been going around talking to world-class individuals, and we've started the Marketing Misfits podcast.
Absolutely. It's a great podcast, by the way.
Thank
Love
you.
it. Love when you and Kevin are both on there, and just some great guests. So for everybody listening, that's lunchwithnorm.com. And then it's LWN. I'm sorry, LWN is in Nancy, or N is in Norm, LWN.news, NEWS. And then, of course, you can search, is it marketingmisfits.com? I think it is, right? If I'm not mistaken.
On YouTube, or
Yep.
for the podcast, like any podcast, you can go over to Marketing Misfits. You're going to see a guy with a beard, a bald-headed guy, and we're both smoking cigars. That's our logo. So
That's them.
you know you're on it.
That's exactly the way I see them almost every time I run into them. So that's perfect. Norm, thank you so much. You provided a lot of great insight, things that I even forgot about. You know, the whole thing with Google, and putting your business on Google and everything, and the amount of things you could do with it, with the coupons. I forgot about the discounts and things in there, and the content, being able to link the content and everything. Such a great piece of advice. It's so funny, me, you, and even when we have Kevin around, it's so funny. Some of these things, and even Steve Simonson, big plug for him too. We're always talking about, these are things that have been around a long time. People just forget about them. Then they come back, and they never stop not working. People just forget about them. And
press releases,
full
circle.
newsletters. It's just, some of these things just have been around a long time. Just people forget to go do them. And, that's why I bring you on the show. I've had Steve Simonson on the show. Kevin's been on the show. It's great. We can always talk about AI and the future and what's going on, but sometimes you got to loop back around to some of these things that people just aren't doing, or they forget to do. And guess what? That'll put you ahead. That puts you in a driver's seat to be able to build that community, drive more sales. I love it, Norm. Thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate it. Always good seeing you. And listen, everybody, thank you for tuning in to E-commerce Revamped. If you want to hear more from Norm, go definitely subscribe to Lunch with Norm podcast on all the different platforms, or check out Marketing Misfits with Norm and Kevin King. Love those guys. And thank you again, Norm, for being on. And we'll see everybody on the next episode.
Thanks for tuning in to E-commerce Revamped. Ready to take your e-commerce business to the next level? Visit Miva.com for the tools to build seamless online stores and unforgettable customer experiences. Until next time, keep your carts full and your customers happy.